Download the AllStar app. Make your picks for UFC fights, challenge your friends, level up and win prizes. Link in description. Get it now.
You made your debut, your pro debut 2021. 2022, you fought again. Back-to-back first-round finishes. 2023, this is the year where we actually got 2 fights in one year, man. A lot of canceled fights throughout the last couple of years. Just describe last year and being active, for once in your pro career.
It's everything a fighter asks for. Like, the only reason we're warriors is to fight, and that's what I live for. So it is really a shitty circumstance having fights cancel, but either way, I make the most of my time in the gym in the meantime. So it feels good. I want to get like 4 fights a year, 5 fights a year, 6 fights a year, as much as possible right now in my life, because I know I can't do this forever. I know I'm only 26, but still, we can only take so many miles on the body. So I want to fight actively,
For sure. And in last year, 2023, you got 2 fights, 2 stoppages. Just describe the development, in those fights.
It was good. I had to solve 2 different problems. Like, Elias and Diego were 2 different styles. So just going about breaking down those matchups and preparing for that just always makes me a better martial artist. And then also having something to look forward to. Like, if I don't have a fight coming up, it's not as motivating to really get better. Fighting a guy like Jake, who's a skilled martial artist, who's going to go for it, who's game, is the best thing for my martial arts career ever, because I get to rise to the occasion and I get to, up my skills to defeat this man, So it feels good. Last year was a great year. It's a good year.
Yeah, for sure, man. For sure, man. From me looking from afar, it was definitely a great year for you. And then you mentioned your fight coming up against Jake, Unified 58, only a few days away. What do you think of the matchup? You mentioned a little bit about what you think of him, but what do you think of the matchup and his style?
And his style. I think he's got a great style. I respect him, respect his martial art ability. I just think I'm better, more skilled, stronger. I believe I have everything it takes to stop this man easily. I don't underestimate anybody. I'm always ready to go 3 hard rounds, but I truly believe, Jake Geauvreau is a banger. And if bangers bang, then we're going to meet in the middle, Jake doesn't have to come looking for me because I'm looking for him. So we'll see who takes the first step back, I'm just pretty stoked.
Is featherweight the most stacked division in Canada, you think, like competitive wise? Because I've seen a few featherweights that are just like on the verge. They're only a couple fights away from being signed by major promotions.
Yeah, for sure. At my gym, there's a lot of killers at 45. I think that's like the average height and weight for guys is like about 160, 150. So cutting down to 45, there's just, I think, the most competition there. I believe in Canada, maybe also the world as well. The 145-pound division in the UFC is a great division. You always see bangers, good power, speed, good balance to everything, So I say 45 is the division to, like, if you're going to be the man at a division, I think 45 is a pretty banging division to own,
Yeah, you have all finishes. He has all finishes in his victories. He has 1 setback against Cody. Cody is probably one of the best featherweights in Canada as well, alongside you guys. What do you think of that fight between him and Jake?
I thought it was a great fight, back and forth. I got a lot of respect for Cody and his skills, man. Like, he's a good wrestler. He's game, great striker as well. Like, he's a southpaw. I believe that was the first southpaw Jake fought. I'm not sure if he fought any other southpaws. But, Govinchuk, I think his name is had a great game plan against Jake, did a lot of things well. I'm curious to see the way Jake has evolved since then to, like, kind of solve those problems against. Yeah, so I guess that's kind of what I have to say. I kind of forget your question. I was just rambling for a bit, but.
Yeah, I was asking you about the Jake versus Cody fight.
Oh, yeah. Good fight. I beat both of them, though. I believe I finished both of them. Govichuk's a great fighter. I just think he can't handle my power either. So I'd like to fight him after. Ideally, at dialed in on Jake. He's could have done a lot of things differently against Govachuk, and the fight could have went drastically different, right? That's a fight Jake could have won, if a few things went his way. So that's what I have to say about that. I mean, I know I'm kind of riding the fence here, but I just kind of observed it from like weaknesses that I see.
Of course, because both those guys, one guy is a potential opponent, and the other guy is your opponent. So you do have to look at it at that way. And that was his first loss. You know what I mean? As a professional, he never lost professional, but you've had that back. I'm sure. How did that impact you? Because he came back pretty strong after that fight.
Oh yeah, yeah. A lot of guys they see what they did wrong, and they often improve it. So I expect a high level Jake Geauvreau this Friday. I expect a fucking banger to come forward. I expect the best version of Jake Geauvreau. 3 hard rounds, full pace. I'm ready for whatever, man. Like I put myself through hell to get here every single time, man. Every single time I go through hell. And I've got the best training partners. I got professional UFC fighters. I got Coach Brian. That gives me a lot of confidence in myself. And yeah, that's the beauty of the game is we're going to see on Friday who is about what, What are we about, What's going to happen?
And with camp, man, what's the spots you've been working at to prepare for this fight?
It's usually like a full focus on the game, patching up my deficiencies, making up for their strengths, kind of like you try to find the 80-20, Like, I don't want to put you on too much game exactly what I'm focusing on for Jake Geauvreau, but the general idea is like, what can I do that is going to really help me in my fight, help me to succeed against a guy like Jake Geauvreau? So I got to analyze his game, his style, his pattern, and then go from there, right? Correcting myself while also not forgetting what brought me to the dance, Like, I'm a phenomenal striker. I'm not about to go waste all, fight camp, all my energy fighting off the cage, I got great footwork. I got great boxing. I got great wrestling. So it's like continuing to improve my strengths while, fixing my deficiencies at the same time is really every fight camp, is the same.
Yeah, without a doubt, man. And, this year, how many fight camps have you been through? Because you've had a few canceled fights this year as well.
Yeah, I was pretty dialed in to fight in January. I had a short notice opportunity. They told me to be ready just for January. I was ready. Ended up pulling out, so that was like kind of one fight camp. Quickly recouped, and then started getting ready for the 20th, May 20th. And then that ended up falling through. The guy got injured as well. And so that's number 2. This is number 3. So I've been keen to make sure I don't burn out because that's been something in the past. Is like I just keep fucking grinding. And then, you kind of burn out. You're like, that sucks. So between each thing, I found my balance, found my center, reminded myself like what I do this for, and then recouped and got back on mission. So there's nobody in the game that can refocus like I can, right back on mission. So it's just all good practice, it's all learning. It's all glorious, Praise God.
And you have a good team around you as well, and they also have fights, so you must have been helping them out when you can.
Yeah.
During that time, right? And it also levels you up just because you have to study other guys, and there's a whole process to it.
Yeah, 100%. You couldn't be more right, for sure.
So what do you expect out of yourself in this one, man? Like you stopped everybody, so is that doesn't change, right?
Well, being like 1000% right now is like I just want to let go, bro. Like life is so stressful, man, and it's like very few times in life where you get to do what you honestly love to do. And I love performing and doing mixed martial arts, man. Like, you put that on my tombstone, Nick Leblanc, mixed martial artist. I'm happy with that, big loving family, follower of God, mixed martial artist, put that in there. I'm a happy man. So I get to live my purpose on Friday night. Jake Geauvreau gets to live his purpose. And, I have no hate for the man. I honestly love the man because without him, there's no me. So we're going to dance Friday night. It's going to be a banger. I'm going to give it my all, man. We're going to, you're going to see 2 young guns who are hungry for victory. Jake Geauvreau's hungry for victory. He just took an L. He's coming back you know, he's young. He's probably trying to make a career out of this. I'm trying to make a career out of this too. So we're fighting for our careers, you know, on Friday night. It's kind of a sick and twisted game, but who can shut it off? Who's crazy enough to shut it off, tune it out, and pick their moment, find their shot, you know? Who is it? You know? I'm pretty excited, as you can tell, you know?
Yeah. It is it's a fun and exciting game you play, but also just one, you know, it's 50-50, right? It's just, you don't know what's going to happen. I think that's what fighters as well they love, is the unpredictability of fighting.
Oh yeah. It's a very potent stimulant, I'd say, fear is, you know? Very potent.
Yeah, you guys have like a grasp on it as well. It's a trip.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you definitely get to know it. It becomes your friend after a while. You know, he's not leaving. He's not going anywhere after any of these fights, you know? It's always that like stench of fear in the change room, you know? It just makes my palms sweat just thinking about it. But it is addicting for sure at the same time.
Which one of your pro fights are you most proud of?
Most proud of? I'd probably say the one against Diego. I'm probably the most proud of, not for like kind of like status reasons or anything that happened, like views or whatever, but it was kind of like I respected my best focus in that fight camp, and I stuck to the things that made me, and like I was just being authentic, and it was a beautiful fight camp, you know? It's like I prepared well, I studied diligently, and each time I'm kind of like putting the pieces together a bit better. So it's like if I you know, keep improving, that was what gives me pride, is seeing that tick of improvement, you know? Being a bit sharper, a bit more dialed on my weight cut, a bit more you know, respecting my sleep schedule, and, you know, just respecting my best focus brings me pride, you know, as an athlete.
And the next couple of years, what are some of the goals you have for yourself?
I want to get signed to the UFC. I want to be a UFC athlete. I think that's the greatest honor, you know, bestowed upon a mixed martial artist, is like playing for that league. Make a living, like make a real career out of fighting, and continue to build my skills. I want to start cracking I have very big goals for myself in the game, and I just got to make sure I stay one step at a time, right? Focus on the next rung. But I want to change the game of Canadian MMA. I want to put it back on the map. I want kids to look up and see a world champion that's Canadian, you know, that's doing it from their city, from their province, and, you know, maybe they could have the hope to be at the top two. They can compete with the Americans and the Russians and the Brazilians. You know, I want people to believe in that, you know, and a lot of the money and whatever success I get from fighting, like I want to put it back into, you know, building up athletes here and like creating a real infrastructure for MMA, because like coming up for me, getting amateur fights was very hard. Whereas like some of these other countries where they have just a better amateur system, they can have 30, 40 MMA fights and then they're going pro, you know? That's a massive advantage for those kids. So yeah, those are my goals, is to get it and then give it back.